So in this video, we're going to be talking about Kevin Zhang. Now, if you don't know who Kevin Zhang is, he's a fake guru. He's one of the biggest out there, and a lot of people have requested that I make a video about Kevin Zhang, so that's what we're doing today. A lot of people have seen his ads on both Facebook and YouTube. He's trying to sell a Shopify course that is $2,000. Again, you really don't need to buy a course that's $2,000. You can learn this stuff for free or on Udemy for like 20 bucks. So I don't know why anyone would pay $2,000 for a course, but he's one of the biggest fake gurus out here, so we're going to be talking about him today. Now, some really interesting developments have happened with Kevin Zhang just in the past week. This past week, Kevin Zhang was sued. He's the very first fake guru to be sued in this new batch of YouTube fake gurus. You got Dan Lok, you got Kevin David, all these big gurus. They're making tons and tons of money. They're living the great life, selling their courses, making a ton of money. And then Kevin Zhang gets sued, right? And a lot of people are thinking maybe this is the start of the end of the fake gurus. Maybe they're all going to go down. I don't know if that's really going to be the case, but we are going to be talking about Kevin Zhang. We're going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to show you one of his ads, and I'm going to break down how it's just a blatant lie. There's just a lot of fake information in the ad. I'm going to get to how he eventually got sued, what caused him to get sued, what he was doing, because it was different than a lot of the other fake gurus. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to actually show you the lawsuit, and I'll break that all down for you as well. Okay, so like I said, before we get into the actual lawsuit, let's go ahead and take a look at one of his ads. I'll break it down for you, show why this is just a blatant scam. But if you don't know, like I said, he is a fake guru trying to sell a Shopify store. According to him, he has many different Shopify stores. I think like 10, 15 different stores he says he has. And he's making $20 million a year in these Shopify stores selling all these products. And he wants to teach you how to do the same exact thing. Unfortunately, it's just all a lie. So let's go ahead and take a look at this ad.
What's up, guys? My name is Kevin, and I'm the youngest member of the Forbes Business Council.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about this Forbes Business Council thing. So if you don't know, this is how a lot of the gurus entice people to trust in them. They'll show them that they're, part of some group, or they're associated with someone famous or some group that's really famous, and you'll be like, oh, they're a legitimate guru, I should trust this guy. So that's what Kevin Zhang is doing with this. He's saying, I'm part of the Forbes Business Council. Now, if you don't know what this is, Forbes has a bunch of these different councils. They have the Finance Council, the Real Estate Council, the Nonprofit Council, and basically all of these are paid for councils that you can join. So I'll show you the actual page. This is the Forbes Council page, and all you have to do is click on Find Out If You Qualify, right? And you give out all of your information, and then they will contact you if you're a legitimate business person. And there are plenty of other people who have shown that this is a paid for service. So you have to pay to get into this. I think it's $1,200 a year to be in these business councils. So this is just a really shady way. I'm actually really disappointed in Forbes because I read a lot of their articles, and it's really disappointing that they have these councils that they advertise, and people think, oh, these are legitimate people, when in reality, all of these people in these councils have paid Forbes $1,200 a year to be on the council. So it really doesn't mean anything to be on this council. It's basically, like I said, it's just a paid service, and these people can be on this council, and then they can say, look, I'm associated with Forbes, and within reality, they're just paying them $1,200 to be able to use the Forbes name.
And if you don't want to believe my story, maybe you'll believe it from Bruce Buffer.
Next up, representing Creator E-Commerce, Kevin, the e-commerce rookie of the year, Zhang.
Okay, so if you don't know, this is Bruce Buffer. He is the announcer, the UFC announcer. He's pretty famous. He does the Let's Get Ready to Rumble line. I don't know if I can actually say that. He has that copyrighted, but he does this all the time. He announces all the UFC fights. He's a very famous person. So again, this is to try and entice you to believe in Kevin Zhang, because he's being introduced by Bruce Buffer, one of the most well-known announcers out there.
How's it going, guys? My name is Kevin Zhang, and I just want to say how blessed and humbled I am to be here. A year ago, I'm 23 years old. A year ago, I graduated college, gave up a high-paying corporate.
So just to clarify what this event actually is, if you see this in an ad, like I said, you would see Bruce Buffer, if you know who he is. He's fairly famous, and you'd see Kevin Zhang talking. You're like, wow, this guy is something special. I should listen to this guy. What you don't know is this whole event, they do events like this all over the country. These are paid for events by a PR firm. So you pay this PR firm, and then you can record yourself at these events being introduced by Bruce Buffer. Every single person in that room is also going to do one of these speeches. Bruce Buffer introduces them by name. He says their name, and they stand up and they say whatever they want for, 30 seconds to a minute. And that's what Kevin Zhang is doing here. He's not famous. This isn't an event just for him. It's just a stupid PR thing where you can pay money to have him say your name, and then you stand up and say whatever you want.
Job was living in my mom's basement. My Chinese parents were asking me why I wasn't a doctor yet. Didn't even do pre-med, so it was a little late for that. $3,000 in credit card debt. And as of August 2019, we closed our first year with $20 million in sales. Me and my team pursue impossible tasks, and sometimes we just so happen to succeed despite what the rest of the world tells us. So, pleasure to be here and looking forward to meeting all of you guys. Appreciate it.
So how did I do all this? How did this all happen? Well, it's because the e-commerce market is growing tremendously fast.
Okay, so why did I show you this ad to you? A couple reasons. First off, I want to show you why he does this. It's just blatant scams, what I showed you in his ad. But he tries to entice people to trust him. And then at the end of this ad, he tries to get you to go to his website, which I'll show you now. So this is his website that the ad will take you to. And basically, it's the same as all the other gurus. You sign up for a free training, right? And he gives you this, hour-long spiel on how he's a Shopify master. He's made dozens, if not hundreds, of different websites that make $20 million a year in Shopify products. And he wants to teach you how to do the same thing. And basically the whole thing is to try and get you to sign up for his $2,000 Shopify course. So if you go down here, one thing that's interesting is he talks about he's not like the other gurus, right? And he lists all of these different scam Shopify stories. Like, I'm not like these that sell scam products. I'm legitimate. You can trust me, Kevin Zhang, right? And so these are all his websites down here. The unfortunate thing is that all of these websites that he runs are all scams as well. So I'll show it a blown up picture so you can see better what these sites are. But 3 of these websites you can't even find anymore. They're completely shut down because they're scams. They're completely shut down. You can't find them anywhere. And only one of them is left up. I think it's the same site. They use different pictures than from what here is. But this is EarthPack. I believe this is one of his sites. I'm not positive because they did change all of the images on the actual website from what's over here. But I think that's his one remaining Shopify store that is still open, but most of them are closed. Now, most of them are closed because he's selling false products, a lot of false advertising on all of these sites, and so they're getting shut down. He's been contacted by the Better Business Bureau to shut these websites down because there are so many complaints. So one of the complaints actually led to the lawsuit that we're going to go over in a little bit. The lawsuit that he has is around a website that he used to have. I'll show you pictures of it. I can't actually show you the website because it's no longer up. He took it down. But one of the websites that he had was called Dixon Leather, right? And he sold a bunch of leather products on this website. He had leather jackets, leather belts, all this stuff, right? And the problem was that it was all fake. The leather jackets that he was selling, they weren't actually leather. He was advertising them as real leather products, but in reality, they were polyurethane. They were like cheap plastic products that would break down right away. So you can actually come over here to Dixon Leather. I'll have a link below. You can find the website, but of course it's down right now. And it's been down for a long time. It just says coming soon. This is his actual website that he owned, but there's nothing here right now. You can come over here to Trustpilot, and this is the actual Trustpilot. See, if you click on this, it'll take you back to the actual page, so it's the same actual website right here. So these are the official reviews for this website, and you can see they're all 1-star reviews because he was selling cheap Chinese knockoff leather products. They weren't actually leather, they were cheap leather products that would break down like as soon as you got them. So he was getting terrible reviews for his products. Now, what's really interesting is I actually found his product, and I'm going to show you exactly what he was doing. So if you don't know, there is a website called Wish, right? I'm going to take you over to Wish right now, and this right here is Wish. And what Wish is, it's basically a cheap Chinese knockoff of Amazon. They sell all these cheap products, and most of them are blatant ripoffs of products that are on Amazon. All the products on Wish are made in China, right? So this right here is the jacket, is one of the jackets that he was selling on his website. And you can see the little portion right there. That's where you can put your logo on. You can customize this item. And he was putting his Dixon leather logo right there. Now this item you can see is supposedly a leather jacket going for $29.41, marked down all the way from $257. And one thing I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a leather product because there are no leather jackets that are selling for $29.41 brand new. It just doesn't happen. Leather is very expensive. It's going to be at least, $150, $200. You're never going to find a legitimate leather jacket for $29. So I guarantee you this is a fake product. So what he was doing is he was finding cheap Chinese knockoffs like on sites like Wish, selling it for like $50 on his website, and he was saying they are legitimate leather products. And because of that eventually led to the lawsuit because they weren't leather products. He was misleading it. Now, one thing that's really interesting, I actually went a step further and I actually found what Wish does. So what Wish actually does is they will go to sites like Amazon and they will find legitimate products that are selling very well, and they will make cheap Chinese knockoff versions of this. So this jacket right here that you see, this men's leather jacket that's only $29.41 on Wish, you can come over here to Amazon and you can type in men's leather jacket. All you have to do is type in men's leather jacket into Amazon and you will find this product. This is the same exact product right here. The image is a little different because this is their cheap Chinese knockoff version of it, but this is the same leather jacket that they are ripping off of Amazon. The one on Amazon is a legitimate product, right? It's made by a company called Flavor. It sells for $149 because it actually is a leather jacket, unlike the other one. And one thing, I actually have this jacket as well. So what Wish and all of these Chinese companies do is they will find products on sites like Amazon that are selling really well. You can see this is the #1 bestseller in men's jackets, right? In men's leather jackets, selling for $149 up to $239, depending on what size you get. And I have this jacket. It's a real leather jacket, this one that you buy off of Amazon. I'm not endorsing this jacket. I'm just saying it is a real leather jacket. And these sites like Wish come over here and make cheap knockoff versions of those jackets. And that's what Kevin Zhang was doing. He was selling this cheap knockoff for saying it was a real leather jacket, and he eventually got sued for it. His website would have this sale, right? So one thing that he would constantly do is he would list these sales on sites like Facebook saying, our company is closing down, it's the last day, everything is 90% off. So people would be like, oh, I gotta buy this leather jacket. That's why it's marked down to only like $50. It's normally $300. But his site was never going out of business. Like this was a constant tactic they would use for like a year. They would just say, this is our last day. And it would never actually go away. The site was just staying around forever. It was just a sales tactic that they used. Okay, so this is the lawsuit right here. I'll have a link below if you want to check it out yourself, but he has been sued. We'll go over this lawsuit a little bit. We won't read the whole thing because it is quite long, but I'll just go over the brief, what's actually happening in the lawsuit. But this is his real name. He also goes by Kevin Zhang. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. But right here, he's been suing for the Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organization. So that's why he's being sued. So let's actually go over why this is. Now, this is a class action lawsuit, so I assume several people are suing him for this. We'll go over a couple of reasons why that is. The first one right here talks about the Zhang enterprise uses fraudulent advertisements on Facebook that promote bogus store closing sales with deceptive pricing to sell plastic products falsely represented to be leather products. Like I said, store closing sales, the store was never closing at the time. It was open all the time, but it was showing, everything's 90% off, so get it right now. You're getting a great deal, and that wasn't true. And they were saying these were legitimate leather products, when in reality they were cheap plastic knockoffs of actual leather products that are on sites like Amazon. Now, another thing that he's also being sued for in this lawsuit is something called Valor drones. Now, I did a bunch of research. I couldn't really find much on the Valor drone, so I don't really know a ton about that, but let's go over what it actually says in the lawsuit. So it says, the Valor drone scheme was essentially a scheme involving both Made in America fraud and charity fraud. Zhang falsely represented to the public that Valor drones was an American manufacturer of drones. So basically, it's like the same type of scenario with the leather jackets. He was buying these cheap knockoff drones, probably off of Wish or just straight from China, and he was saying, no, these are legitimate Made in America drones. And he was also saying, we're giving a portion of the money to charity. This lawsuit is saying that wasn't actually true. They weren't actually giving any money to charity, and these weren't American-made drones. So this is just allegedly, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the lawsuit is saying is is true. Now, it also says Kevin Zhang also represented that Valor Drones holds a strong commitment to our armed forces and donates a portion of all sales to veterans in need. We offer drones at a fraction of the price of our competitors and hire U.S. employees. This representation was also false, according to the lawsuit. That's bad. You don't want to lie and say you're helping out veterans when you're not actually doing that. No one likes people that do that. So basically, break it all down for you. The three things that he's being sued for. He's selling products that aren't what they say they are. He's saying they're leather products when they're not. He's saying that he's selling products that are made in America when they're not actually made in America products. That's one thing you should never do. You get in big trouble for that. And he's saying that he's donating and helping out charities, helping out the veterans, when supposedly, according to the lawsuit, allegedly, that's not actually happening. So if they're able to prove all this, Kevin Zhang is in huge trouble. Like, you don't mess around with saying you're helping out veterans when you're not doing it. You don't lie and say this is an American-made product when it's not doing it. You will get in big trouble for that. So potentially, Kevin Zhang could be in really big trouble. So it's interesting how this whole lawsuit played out just over the past week. Now, I will have follow-ups. I'm going to be following this lawsuit. So if anything does develop, I will let you know when and if that stuff happens as well. But I'm curious what you think about this. Is this just the tip of the iceberg? Are we going to start seeing a lot of the other gurus like Kevin David and Dan Lok? Do you think they potentially could get sued coming up as well? I'd love to hear your opinion on that. Now, personally, I think Kevin Zhang really screwed up a lot more than a lot of these other gurus have done. A lot of these other gurus, they just try and sell courses. Kevin Zhang was actually selling Shopify products, and he was lying, allegedly, according to the lawsuit, he was lying about what these products were, and that's why he got caught up, and potentially that's why he got sued, right? I don't know if that's ever really going to happen to the other gurus, but potentially that could happen as well. Love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and leave them below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure and like, subscribe, and share this video, and have a great day as well.